The GATE program, which stands for the Gifted and Talented Education Program, was implemented in various U.S. school districts since the 1960s, aimed to provide enriched education for intellectually advanced students, typically identified through high IQ scores or other assessments. Some speculation, primarily from online discussions and unverified claims on platforms like X, suggests that GATE may have been used as a covert operation by government agencies, such as the CIA or Pentagon, to identify and study children with extrasensory abilities, including telepathy, during the Cold War era from the 1970s to the 1990s. These claims point to programs like Project Stargate, which explored psychic phenomena like remote viewing for intelligence purposes, as potential evidence of a connection. For instance, posts on X and Reddit anecdotes describe GATE participants undergoing unusual tests, such as telepathy or ESP experiments in the 1970s and 1980s.
So this makes me really wonder, right, is Chris Bledsoe, which also was studied in that specific way by the government, was he a special kid or special person that did not know about it until he was in his late stages of life, with Tim Taylor showing up? But regardless, guys, we're going to be looking into this today because, it's been a really big topic. I've been wanting to talk about it for quite a little bit. And it's really fascinating to think that Stranger Things, right, the whole premise, the whole GATE program, it's seeming to be actually real. And I wonder if it goes back to the time period that, the series Stranger Things has taken place in, because it's quite a few years ago, the time period in which the series takes place. So we're going to be talking about all this and more, so make sure you watch till the end because the best parts are there, okay? And we're going to be checking it out, all the angles. It's really interesting. Telepathy, I wonder if things can be picked up with the mind. The CIA won't tell us, guys. That's why we got to talk about it, got to figure out for ourselves. Check out what's posted online, leaks, and we're going to be doing that, okay? So make sure you subscribe, notifications on, leave a like, and share. That helps so much, guys. And we're going to be the fastest growing channel real soon. Check out this space, okay?
However, no declassified documents or credible scientific evidence directly link GATE to telepathy research. Mainstream accounts describe GATE as an educational initiative, while the telepathy connection remains speculative, largely fueled by anecdotal reports and distrust in government programs.
Well, first of all, gifted children could be underachieving, and that's one of the big issues, is that many of us do not live up to our potential. And, we talk about the fact that children don't live up to their potential for a variety of reasons. It could be psychological, it could be physiological, but sometimes underachievement is really a consequence of poor curriculum. So that one of the things that we're talking about is we're trying to ameliorate the issue of underachievement by saying, here's curriculum that we know that is responsive to the needs, the interests, and abilities of gifted children. But there's another part of that, and that is there's a moral obligation for us to try to take every child's potential and look at what kinds of curricular experiences manifest that potential into performance.
So, as I said before with Chris Bledsoe, maybe he is a gifted one, but never knew it, right? I wonder if there's any childhood experiences. I think I'm remembering some things he said. But Gary Nolan also had a childhood experience. So, all these childhood experiences, which makes you leads you to believe that maybe it's the younger you are, the more prone you are to these types of experiences. Because you're still new? I don't even know how that works, right? So what if Tim Taylor and his team from the Bahamas, right? What if all these people are like gifted people? There's a facility in the Bahamas where all this shit happens. All working for the Hammer? Like, how does this story end? It's really, it could go any way. So there's this one book, right? Check this out.
The Montauk Project is a conspiracy theory alleging secret government experiments at Camp Hero, a decommissioned Air Force Base in Montauk, New York during the 1970s and 1980s. It claims the U.S. military conducted covert research involving time travel, mind control, psychic warfare, and interdimensional exploration, building on the earlier Philadelphia experiment. Key figures like Preston Nichols and Al Bielek, who claim to be whistleblowers, describe suppressed memories of their involvement in experiments manipulating space-time and contacting extraterrestrials.
So quite honestly, guys, like the thing with remote viewing, right? Like, people have remote viewed that Sasquatches used to populate Mars, okay? Or the moon, whichever the fuck one that was. And these Sasquatches built pyramids on these planets, guys. So that's the actual level of insanity this goes to. So you can't, like, if you accept the remote viewing credibility side of things and these famous remote viewers that are so skilled, they've seen some batshit crazy stuff, okay? And if that's right, then you are a crackhead in the public domain, okay? And it's like, it makes sense because it's so outlandish for that to be a possible thing, right? So you've got to, like, get your stance and see how far you believe into this stuff, because you'll just lose your mind if you go all in, right?
The theory gained traction through books like The Montauk Project, Experiments in Time from 1992, but lacks credible evidence and is dismissed by skeptics as fiction, possibly inspired by Cold War paranoia and sci-fi. No official records or physical proof support the claims, and the site is now a state park. The Netflix series Stranger Things, created by the Duffer Brothers, draws loose inspiration from the Montauk Project. Originally titled Montauk, the show shifted its setting to the fictional Hawkins, Indiana, but retained themes of secret government experiments. Set in the 1980s, it follows children encountering supernatural phenomena, including a girl, 11, with telekinetic powers, tied to a covert lab, the Hawkins National Laboratory, conducting experiments linked to the Upside Down, a parallel dimension. The Montauk Conspiracy's ideas of mind control and dimensional rifts echo in the show's narrative, blending 1980s nostalgia with sci-fi horror. The Duffer Brothers confirmed the Montauk Project as a creative spark, though Stranger Things fictionalizes and expands these ideas, focusing on character-driven storytelling rather.
Guys, Nancy Wheeler is so gorgeous in that fucking series, right? I think it's the hardest character in the actual series. And Joe, we got Joe over there. Love his music, man. He's turned out to be having such a good time after his employment at the show. Guys, if you haven't watched the series, highly recommended.
Rather than directly depicting the conspiracy.
So what's really interesting, okay, you got to subscribe to Need to Know as well, because Ross Coulthart has been coming out with the most insane episodes too. 2025 is turning out to be a great year for this type of thing, guys. We just got all these updates. Ross Coulthart coming out. He recently did an episode and I was watching and I was like, oh my god, check this out. Watch till the end, because now is where this shit gets real.
What's really interesting is the CIA was investigating telepathy and psychic phenomena 50 years ago, and officially it was all axed, officially it was all stopped. But what I've discovered is the psionic program never stopped. They've been using people with telepathic skills for many, many decades. It never stopped.
I actually, I wanted to ask you about that, sir. So you believe that the Gifted and Talented program in some ways was like a cover or a recruiting ground for the psionics program?
It's not a belief. I know for a fact it was. I've now spoken to multiple people who are now adults who, as children, were diverted into the Gifted and Talented education program. They all recall being tested for psychic skills. So there are these things called Werner cards, where you have to try and guess what the shapes are on the cards. And all of them have related these tests being given to them. And some of them have told me how they were then taken into a facility that sounds like something out of Stranger Things.
Oh, wow.
Where they were literally put in a chair. They had a ECG cap on their heads, and they were taught how to use their brains to connect with a non-human consciousness. No,
Jesus.
I know this
Christ.
sounds like science fiction, and I would forgive anybody who's listening to this for going, "Oh my God, this reporter has gone completely crazy."
Guys, this is too nice of a sweater he's wearing to be a liar. Okay? It's too nice.
But I'll tell you what happened to me. So we were telling the story of the summoning. So
Yeah.
it was a really cool event. I don't know if you guys have ever been to this place called Esalen, but
No.
I've heard of it, but I've never been there.
I got invited to this event that was organized by Alex Clokas, who's the guy who's funding Skywatcher. And Clokas knows a lot of billionaires, and billionaires have got all these drop-dead gorgeous girlfriends. And so I found myself as a 60-something guy walking around this place at Esalen, where all these supermodels are walking naked around these hot springs.
Were they
And,
summoned? They were summoned too, but it was cash.
All these beautiful young women are walking around buck naked, and I was far
That's one
too
way to
shy
get him
go
there, huh?
up in the bath. But that evening, after I'd been in a hot springs bath with some of these beautiful women, I was. They said to me, "Come and do the summoning." And so we're holding hands, lying on the ground, chanting, meditating. And then Jordan, who's the psionic that was doing the attempted connection, he says, "I'm connected." And at the very moment that he said he was connected, it was like somebody flicked a light switch, and there were these two golden, slightly silvery orbs on the horizon. And there's this beautiful, I won't embarrass him, but a Chinese billionaire who lives in San Fran, and he's putting his hands up in the air and he's going, we love you, come close."
Okay, that is so fucking funny, right? Okay, so they're laying there with all these beautiful women, right? And this fucking psionic guy, he just connected, okay, it's like a Bluetooth sync where he just like, it's that pairing, you know, okay, you're paid now. And he was freaking out. I don't know if he was trying to do this or he just did it, or they were trying to have fun and then this happened. Like, that's like a movie. So comedic, okay? I fucking love this. And he's busy saying, "I love you, don't go away," whatever the fuck. And there's this supermodel that's just like, guys, what am I doing here? These people are crazy, right?
So what was quite beautiful was all of us were profoundly affected by that experience, because there's no way in the world that Jordan could have known that a blue orb was going to show up that night. And he definitely predicted it, and it happened in the way that he predicted.
So Ross has also extensively mentioned and spoken about this blue orb he has in his head, right? A lot of people have told him about blue orbs, and more specifically blue orbs to do with Ross specifically. And Ross, to my knowledge, has never had like an odd experience in his life. But it seems like this blue orb is making a connection. It's trying to pair to this man. Ross, you gotta let us know if something happens, okay?
The real quick, I just wanted to say so when you say with the orb, because these things have been described in a multitude of ways, you know, and just like what Jake Barber was saying about all the different types they have, the 9 different types. But when you say these orbs, sometimes you'll see these photos of these orbs where some of them look like they have like kind of a hard border with like a plasma-like center, and then sometimes they're described just as balls of light. That night, which did that lean into?
Speaking of plasma, the Y-Files recently released a video like a few hours ago about plasma and plasmoid end of the world situation scenarios, right? Make sure to check that out as well. I know I'm really fucking shouting out so many much larger channels than myself. I wish some of them would do the same, but hopefully in the future, right? But when it's good content, I will be recommending it regardless. So guys, definitely check that out. Make sure it's not your favorite channel above this one, okay?
More.
They were plasma. I didn't see anything solid inside them. They were like plasma balls of light.
Okay.
It was like,
wow.
It was like Jupiter. It was like the planet Jupiter swirling inside an orange ball.
Wow.
It really does make you wonder if this plasmoid entities or materializations or whatever that is exactly, if it's like a portal, like, and the thing is coming through and going about there, we cannot see with naked eye and only infrared, is that like part of the whole thing why they are out above the ocean near military bases. Like, where does that portal lead? What does that mean that something has this technology and they've made a portal here right in our backyard, guys? Let me know all your thoughts down below. I'll see you tomorrow. Daily uploads. Goodbye.
I know a bar out in Mars where they driving spaceships instead of cars. Cop a Prada space suit about the stars. Getting stupid high straight about the jaws. Pockets on Shrek, rockets on deck. Tell me what's next, alien sex. I'ma disrobe you, then I'ma probe you. See, I abducted you, so I tell you what to do.